First witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. City calls the defendant, Gary LaHote, as an adverse witness.
Okay, Mr. Lote. Please come on up and be sworn, and bear in mind that because the city has called you in this, that will not preclude you from testifying on your own behalf later. I will do so. Welcome to the court. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're going to present this afternoon is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do not.
You don't?
I do not.
Why not?
I guess the biggest problem I have is that the Supreme Court has allowed, let me just say, a lot of latitude with being able to tell the truth, and it seems like that everybody has to tell the truth except certain individuals of the government.
All right, sir, that's an editorial statement.
Well, you asked me why I don't feel like
Right.
taking an oath, because I'd be the only one that has to take the oath and tell the truth. While
You're not the only one. Every witness will have to do that, sir.
Well, I don't have immunity from lying is what I'm saying. It comes down to immunity, and there seems to be a lot of people.
That's
that have
right.
immunity
Nobody.
to
Okay,
lie.
have a seat, sir.
Okay.
We're going to end this discussion very quickly. And the reason why we're going to do that is because every witness is subject to the same oath or affirmation. If you wish to take an affirmation that talks about that, I will gladly give you the affirmation instead of the oath. If you wish to have that, I will gladly do that for you.
I actually refer neither.
I'm sorry?
Neither is actually what I refer,
All right.
is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm here because I have to be here.
Well, actually, you don't.
I do.
Who says you do?
Well, I got some paperwork that says today's the court date, and I have to show up, and today's my court
All
date.
right.
So I have
Let
to
me
be here.
explain that to you as well, sir. That's both true and not true. It is true that you were summoned to, you entered a plea of not guilty, and the case was scheduled for a trial. If you absent yourself from the trial, you will have deemed to enter a plea of no contest to the charge, and the court will find you guilty by default. A plea of no contest means that you neither admit or deny the allegations against you, but you understand that the court will find you guilty anyway. If you default, by that I mean if you walk out of here right now or at some other point during the trial, you will have defaulted in your case. You are not required to remain here. You can leave if you wish, but the alternative is that you would be found guilty by virtue of a default judgment against you.
Right.
Now, let me explain a couple of things about that so that you understand things. So, technically you're here because it's your trial, but you're not forced. Nobody's handcuffing you in the chair saying you have to be here today. So if you want to get up and walk out of the room and you don't want to participate in your trial, you will be found guilty by default. Some people may choose to do that for whatever reasons that they have. And so I just want to give you that option, but there is a caveat to that. And the caveat to that is if you are found guilty by default, you do not have a right to appeal that judgment. So you understand, and I need to correct the misimpression that you have, is that if you don't want to be here today and you don't want to participate in the trial, the court will deem you to be absent. If you are absent and you don't participate in the trial, we will deem you to be absent and you'll be found guilty by default. And I guess a couple of times over the years I've seen defendants do that because they felt they felt that they were innocent, or they've had other issues. They understood that there was evidence to the contrary. But I guess they wanted, for whatever value, the intellectual points of saying, like I didn't admit it and I wasn't found guilty on the merits. So some people have done that, not very often, but I have seen it happen. And if you choose to do that, I certainly am not going to rub salt in the wound and hold it against you in any way other than imposing a default judgment. And of course, then, I wouldn't be able to hear your version as to, what type of penalty you think the court should impose. But, you either participate here or I will deem you to be absent. But if you want to absent yourself, you can do that. And I'm not going to force you to stay. But if you are going to be here, you are going to comply with the court's rules. And that means taking the oath as well. Now, but if at any time you decide that you don't want to and you want to walk out, you are absolutely free to do that, and unless you've done something which would cause you to be arrested, and I can't think of what that is, none of those gentlemen with a badge over there is going to go running after you.
I understand.
All right. So what are we going to do today?
We're going to proceed.
All right. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to present today, oath or affirmation?
Affirmation.
All right. I will give that to you, sir. Because I think that addresses the concerns that you raised, and I'm happy to do that for you. Do you solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and that you do this under the pains and penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Lote.
You're welcome.